Sidekick Media Services. We are your sidekick in business for social media, video production, and more. Find out more at sidekickmediaservices.com.
Hello friends, I'm your pal in the mainstream media.
And I'm the Riz.
And you know, Riz, it takes years of strenuous, dedicated training before you're worthy to step inside a professional wrestling ring. But it takes even more time to develop complex, highly astute opinions about professional wrestling. Am I right?
That is correct. You know where we can find that?
Yes,
The Wrestling Ham.
that's right.
Sidekick Media Services. We are your sidekick in business for social media, video production, and more. Find out more at sidekickmediaservices.com.
Hello friends, I'm your pal in the mainstream media.
And I'm the Riz.
And you know, Riz, it takes years of strenuous, dedicated training before you're worthy to step inside a professional wrestling ring. But it takes even more time to develop complex, highly astute opinions about professional wrestling. Am I right?
That is correct. You know where we can find that?
Yes,
The Wrestling Ham.
that's right.
Sidekick Media Services. We are your sidekick in business for social media, video production, and more. Find out more at sidekickmediaservices.com.
Hello friends, I'm your pal in the mainstream media.
And I'm the Riz.
And you know, Riz, it takes years of strenuous, dedicated training before you're worthy to step inside a professional wrestling ring. But it takes even more time to develop complex, highly astute opinions about professional wrestling. Am I right?
That is correct. You know where we can find that?
Yes,
The Wrestling Ham.
that's right.
This show is a member of the Sorgatron Media Podcast Network. Find out more at sorgatronmedia.com. This show is brought to you by Slice on Broadway, supporting Pittsburgh podcasting with the perfect pepperoni pizza. Production services by Sidekick Media Services. And listeners like you supporting us at patreon.com/awesomecast. It's time to get geeky, get awesome. It is the AwesomeCast. I'm Mike Sorg at Sorgatron in the Sorgatron Media Studios in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. Not in a hotel room, and it's so nice to be here. And we have with us the crew. First of all, from the Duds Cave, social media specialist and a wonderful photographer on the events. Katie Dudas is with us this week.
Hi, friends. How are you?
Hello. The hair is... Did you get your hair did again today?
Yeah, well, no. Maybe, you know what? It's probably because it's wavy and not so super straight like they did it when I was there.
Okay. How are you doing this week, Katie?
Oh, surviving.
Yay.
It's only Tuesday.
Yay. Yeah, isn't that the way? Also with us from the iPhoneography podcast, Dave Podnar is with us as well.
Hey, and like I said, we're just making it. One day, 1 hour at a time. We're making it.
This gets us through the week. It gets us over that hump a little bit here.
We know Tuesday night is podcast night.
Yes.
And it's a recovery from Monday.
Okay. What about Thursday when we do wrestling every week? What is that? That gets us ready for the weekend, right?
Yeah, exactly. That is actually...
It's our warm-up.
Appointment viewing.
Oh, okay. I'm glad it's good to hear that. Okay. I feel like my color is a little bit off on this camera right now. I don't know. Might have a loose cord in there. But anyways, this is the AwesomeCast. Intern John is also on the line as well, helping us out with things on the social medias. Please go follow us, AwesomeCast, on all the things, including the blue skies where you're getting your skeet on, and the and wherever else, the Twitter, X, I think we're still there. Who knows anymore? But anyway, let's get into it with our awesome thing of the week. Thank you, Kid Metal, for all these sounders as well. Please go check out Kid Metal on the internets and the social medias. Let's get started with Katie. What is your awesome thing of the week?
Hi. So I do work with 412 Thrive.
I've heard.
And I know, amazingly enough. But this Sunday, we're doing a runway show with our folks. There are Thrivers that are going to be a part of this. And it's at the Ross Elementary School. And it coincides with the Oscars on Sunday. And so we're working with Vintage 416. They're out in Millville. And she has got a beautiful shop with all kinds of fun vintage clothing. And she is outfitting all of our models for this particular event. And unrelated, kind of related, she has a dog named Rooster that's adorable. And but I'm going to be one of the models getting to do this. So I went for my fitting today on top of like all the other shenanigans happening today. I got to go do that. We're doing like kind of a formal looking outfit, and then something more low-key. My formal dress is from the 80s, perfection 80s, and the layback chill dress or outfit is 70s. So it's a lot of fun vintage. And Elena, who owns the store, does an incredible job of knowing about the fashion. So she's a big history nerd. So she's also very much into that part of it too. And I'm trying to pull up a picture of Rooster. Rooster is two.
I think Rooster's on the webpage also for Vintage
Probably.
416.
Yeah. But that's Rooster. So yes. Yeah, she's actually known as Rooster's mom to most folks in the area. But her shop's incredible. It was so much fun. We had a blast. I get to play a little dress up. There he is.
I love it. So this is Vintage 416. Where is that at?
Millville.
Millvale's got some cool
Yep.
shops over there. I like their stuff over there. I
Neat.
haven't been for a bit actually. Well, other than enjoy it, Mr. Small. So I was a little busy that day. So awesome. Awesome. Go check that out. And you can find information where if you guys aren't on video.
Actually, you can find it on 412thrive.org. And at the top of the screen, it says a model event. And just find tickets there. They're $20. All of it stays, supports folks in the Western PA area, Southwestern PA area. And yeah, it's going to be a good time. We were also giving away swag bags, and there's rumors of both Mancini's and Jenny Lee. Fred involved with both of those.
Ooh.
There you go. Thrive 412thrive.org. Again, a great group that you can work with over there, Katie. That helps. Officially it's Young Survivors of Breast Cancer, right?
Well, it's any
general.
stage, any age.
Okay.
As long breast cancer and the genetic mutation. So the folks that BRCA and other, all across the board.
Yep. Go follow them on all the social media so you can see what's going on. You guys do a lot of really cool events there through the year. So very, very cool. Awesome. Dave, let's pop to you. What is your awesome thing of the week?
Well, my awesome thing is a loss for Team Asteroid. So recently in the news, there's been the talk of the asteroid that may in 2032 hit the Earth.
Yeah.
It's not going to hit the Earth.
Oh,
it peaked at a 3% chance, which is actually pretty high.
It's actually pretty scary, actually.
That's pretty high. Now, luckily, this was a not overly large asteroid, around the size of a football field. Now, if it would have hit the Earth, first of all, it's not an extinction level event. This isn't the thing that took out the dinosaurs. It would have been really bad if you would have been underneath the impact. But if you're 10 to 15 miles away, you're probably fine. It honestly, remember, the Earth is 75% ocean. Therefore, better chance than not, it hits the ocean. It wouldn't have created a tsunami. So it really wouldn't have been a massive deal. It would have been interesting if it would have hit the Earth, just to be able to take measurements and look at something up close. Because one thing is, we didn't realize it passed. It was twice. It passed us in December of last year, twice the distance that the moon's from us. But we didn't know it passed us until it already was past us.
Oh, that's scary.
So we only saw it on the way out.
Well, and that's kind of the conversation too. Is there's so much stuff in the sky, and they're only covering like a small percentage of it. It sounds like there's a lot of opportunity for us to not see one coming or see it.
Most definitely,
like anything like that. There's a lot of sky, guys, to deal with.
There's a lot of sky, and there's only so much we have available for looking and for people to review the data coming in. This is not a large team doing this. I would say it's a lot of money for most people, but for a government program, we're not really spending a lot of money on it.
No.
Also, like I said, and the way the percentages were kind of being brought out, there was like, it started like under 1%, then it went to like 1.5%, and then it peaked around 3%. So the way it kind of was described, imagine, so they did measurements on it, and they're really good with figuring out orbital mechanics. You can get pretty exact. So, but for 8 years out, there's a little margin of error as things tend to move.
Sure.
So the margin of error, let's say, was a circle, let's say that big. And let's say right here is where the Earth is.
You're just making a finger circle with your two hands.
Circle. Yes.
For people on audio.
Yeah. So let's say the Earth happens to be right here. So we're within it.
Yes.
But we're not.
It's a big space.
And it's a big circle.
Yes.
So they get their measurement a little bit better. So the circle gets a little smaller. And if they're still in it, the percentage goes up because, the circle's smaller, so we have a better chance.
Sure.
But then their circle gets smaller, and then all of a sudden the Earth is outside the circle. So that's how it kind of goes up and then goes to zero. And orbital mechanics is tricky. It is nasty equations. So it's amazing the fact that they can, because they were saying if it was going to hit the Earth, it would be December 21st, 2032. And because of the way it went, it would be along a particular line that would be around the equator. So they were able to get down to this day and this particular kind of thin line going around the equator, say, okay, if it's hitting us, it's going to hit us somewhere around here. And we would know that 8 years out. But because of the, so we missed it, but we should be able to get really good measurements.
Dave,
as it flies by in 4 years and in 8 years.
Dave, I feel like you're really longing for this asteroid here. Like I feel like there's I feel like you're really disappointed that it's gone to zero.
It's a good it would be a good test case.
You want to test that dirt thing? You want to test that dirt thing?
Well, yeah, I mean, that too.
The dart is the experiment we did about a year or so ago, where we sent a rocket up and in an attempt to nudge an asteroid into a different course.
Just a little nudge. Just a little nudge.
Yeah. So
because if you see something early enough, you just have to nudge it a little bit.
Just a little nudge. It doesn't take much.
And
there you go. You don't have to
moves.
Bruce Willis this thing and land on it. Like in the 90s. We've come a long way. We've come a long way since Bruce Willis in the 90s, guys. So, anyways, either way, hey, I want to give a quick shout out here. I saw Pittsburgh Hills in the chat room over on Instagram, so I want to give a shout because we actually are scheduled, because I keep seeing multiple videos from the Pittsburgh Hills account on Instagram, and I had to send a message over to Ellen over there. Because at least 3 shots in the latest compilation video about the hills in Pittsburgh are all from within my block, guys. Between Canton Avenue, the under end of Belasco, and literally I'm watching and I'm like, that's my commute every day. Me going over that side of Hampshire is like literally what I see every day when I come up to the studio. So I'm like, Ellen, we have to have you on the show because you apparently love this neighborhood. They'll be coming on next week, and we're going to talk about Hills of Pittsburgh in the Instagram account. And actually, no, the first time I saw it was, of course, it's one of those things like I love. We'll get into more next week, but one of them was a friend of this and the other show, Yinza, the Pittsburgh luchador, was in the car apparently, and I was like, I even messaged him, I'm like, dude, you were on my street. What's up? So, but yeah, and I've climbed those, like every one of those, I've climbed those hills. So we'll have them on next week and talk about. I guess Ellen's bringing her husband Mark as well. So we'll have a good conversation there. So looking forward to that. We haven't had a guest on this show for a long time because I just enjoy our conversations. But it's really important if I decided we want to have somebody else on the show, because we just haven't for a while. We've been comfortable on this show. So, anyways, I guess it's time for my awesome thing of the week. So the thing I did is nothing new. Katie's had this, been telling me about how she's been able to do this for about a year, because she got the phone, got her upgrade a year before me. But so when let me get the mirroring up on her. So when I just visited University of Pennsylvania in Philadelphia this past weekend. They actually did a plane unveiling for the aero design team. Penn Air is their team. Then they did a test flight the next day out of an airport in New Jersey. And then we did some interviews and checked out their lab and everything. Got to visit the Penn Electric Formula SAEV team there as well. So I'm in interview mode, right? And one thing that I still do this, even though we've had some upgrades and stuff. And there's a reason I buy the most expensive iPhone ever, because I want that camera, because I literally use it for these use cases. So, as you see, like if you're with me on video, and now my photos are going to do something completely different. But I always get these shots. Not the wrestling. Let's move on here. I always get these shots like, this one, if you're with us on video, where I get these kind of side shots where it's like kind of we're using the cinematics. We're getting that side shot, like nice, like bokeh blur that it has on there. And it's a different style. It matches, we mix it with the Panasonic. I think it's the AGDVX 200 that I have, the big one that sometimes you'll see me with out there on shoots and stuff. So, and it's always been a pain for me to get these off. These are like one of these videos. I think this video is like 20 minutes of entirely thankfully they're I can't remember if they did HD or if they got them up to 4K on these ones on the new phone. But either way, they're very sizable. There's gigabytes and like tens of gigabytes of stuff that needs to come over. And then at certain points, I would even do iCloud, right? And pull those things off there. So I'm trying to get to some of the other interviews here. There's another one that we did here. So that's always been an issue. So enter me remembering, oh, wait a minute, I got the new iPhone with a USB-C. And I got this hard drive I bought for this project that's also USB-C. So the cool thing is it plugs straight in, and I was like, okay, well, let's see how easy this is. Is it going to be weird? I've been really kind of fearful to plug in project drives, because this drive has everything from 2 projects that we did last week, when I was in Ann Arbor and what we did in Philadelphia. So I've been really nervous about doing that, right? And then even at a certain point, because I'm dealing with that thing that I constantly deal with iCloud, where it's filling my computers and they're being rendered almost unusable. I got a 30 gigabyte file I was sent last Friday. I still need to figure out how to download it. I need to remember to download it on this computer actually before I leave tonight. So I can get it going, because then you put it on our process and all that kind of stuff, right? So anyway, so that's been an issue, and also the iCloud thing. Maybe we'll get into that in Patreon. But please, Katie, let me remember that, because I had a revelation on that this week. But when it comes to this though, and I lost my screen thing. Give me a second here for you guys on video. Again, I'm just kind of like, how easy is it to do this? So if you pop into your files. I don't know why I'm still screen capping this video. It's not mirroring the video. What are you doing? It was stuck on the interview video. So if we do this guy, and let me get you over there, and you see you got your Dropbox, I got TeamViewer, I got on your phone iCloud. It literally just, if you've been kind of concerned about this is how easy it is. You plug it in, you give it a second, and there it is, SAE 225. I just named it for the month and the year for what we got going on. And you see there is everything. And now I'm actually curious as I go in here. Okay, it does not see the Final Cut project. I was wondering if the Final Cut project would maybe cross-play into iMovie or something, but you can see stuff like that. But so you get the full, you get your file structure as expected, and then if you want to send over, I'm just going to send over a picture, so it's something, you know what? No, I'm going to send a video, which is sizable, right? No, it's full screening everything. There we go. All right, so if I select a couple of things, including a video, and we send that over, it's literally just, you go save the files, you tell it to save on that drive, which I just lost. There you go. And I couldn't believe how quick it was. Again, tens of gigs of file were over there in basically a moment. And there they are, ready to go, playing off of your drive. It's tremendous. So this has been a really big one. The next thing that I want to do, Katie, and maybe we'll do this on when we go to Aero here in about a month, or actually maybe I'll do it here in a couple weeks when I go to California to do some more of these interviews. I want to load one of these drives and figure out how to load it on my rig, so that it'll do ProRes straight to the drive, and see if I get a little bit better quality in some of my edits. So that's the next thing. So we'll be playing with that a little bit. So so highly recommend if you're dealing with video files, or even just I took a crap load of pictures and I want to put them over here. throw a little drive on it. I feel like a lot of people are going to have these at this point, right? If you're getting a new SSD or anything that's just a USB-C or something, just plug that thing in. It's not scary, and you can just move your files pretty easily off of that, and vice versa too, right? Like I'm sure there's reasons like if you have there's the Delta emulator and you want to get all those files over there. That's another reason you would probably want to use one of these too, is put them on a drive and throw them over there, and you can put hundreds of files over there very, very easily instead of bringing them down off iCloud like I've done before. So, but yeah, Katie, I don't know, how much have you used this in the last year?
Not at all, because I'm not doing video as much as you are,
no.
So that probably is one, but. And
although
most of my big photos,
you do grab videos for me from time to time, so we need to remember
true.
this. So I'm gonna be like, here, go, instead of like airdropping it or whatever and waiting for that process.
That's true,
right?
Yeah,
so
that makes much more sense. No, I like that idea. Yeah, because I do run around grab videos for you when you need.
It was even to a point where there's that 30 gigabyte file I've been trying to deal with and try to figure out how I'm going to bring it down on a computer that's workable. I started that. I'm like, wait a minute, why don't I just download it to my phone? Because I have a terabyte on this thing. So I plugged in I have an Ethernet, USB Ethernet thing I plug into my laptop, because the wireless is, we have a very long studio and the wireless is a little weak back there. So sometimes the phone doesn't like cooperate and you don't want to download anything on it over that. But I just took the Ethernet out of my laptop and plugged it straight in, and it was going at a pretty good clip. But it downloaded, and I think it downloaded the photos, and it was like a full-on 30 gig, like, giant file. I don't think Photos didn't know what to do about it, or it downloaded based on the original date, and I don't know where it is on my phone. So that's kind of a fun process I'm going to have to figure out here in the near future. So there you go. If you got the iPhone with the USB-C, it's really easy to do this with these drives, and highly recommend it if you are using it for extensive things. Even some people, like, we had a thing last year where, like, I put it up. I had to throw it up because we were asked to do something, and I'm like, my camera's already occupied, and it was remember, Katie, the women in motorsports I was asked to do at the last moment, and there's like, go buy an audio recorder and throw the camera on a tripod and tap somebody to babysit it, but then you got this like hour-long 4K video, and yes, it's compressed and, HVC or H.264 or whatever it is, but still sizable, right? And it's just a pain to airdrop that, get that off there until you do something like this. And I was still on probably an iPhone 13 Pro back then, right? So, which is not here. But anyways, yeah, I know where that's at actually. So anyways, so that's my awesome thing of the week, is actually using some of the cool new iPhone tech that is the reason that we get these things, and kind of implement them. And spend so much money on them for this flexibility, right? So definitely very, very cool. So, all right. With that, I want to give a shout out to our friends that are supporting the show here, keeping us going every week, and gives me a reason to say, hey, I think I'm going to do this in a hotel room and make this work, because damn it, everybody deserves a show that pays for this thing on Patreon. And thank you everybody that does support the show. Thank you to Brian Crawford of the New Pittsburgh Exhibition, our executive producer, at the Coffee Club level, Cynthia Klosky, and at the fan of the show level, our friends John DeGore. Yeah, you're Johnny this week, apparently. Sorry. And also Dave Podnar of the iPhoneography podcast.
Always happy to be here. Always happy to help.
I was looking for the little hello or whatever. Thank you guys so much. You can support the show at patreon.com/awesomecast. And whenever we have a chance, we do like to record a little bit extra after the show and include that in your feed as well. Maybe a little bit extra, maybe some stuff of a different tone that I don't want to do on the show, because this is going to be the positive show where you can hopefully forget about all the other stuff and be detached from all that, at least for 60 minutes, as we just talk about hopefully cool tech things and remind you why we're kind of into this kind of stuff, as I just wave my drive around. But anyways, I wave my solid drive around. Katie, you have an awesome old thing of the week. What? Right?
Okay. Yes.
Okay.
Well, I don't know. I didn't tell you anything what it was, because if I did,
no, you were starting to, and then Podnar's was a little more timely, so we went with that, I think.
Okay.
Last week.
Cool. I can't remember what I told you was going to be, because I pivoted from what I was going to do originally at the beginning of the show. That's
okay.
So we are all familiar. We are of a certain age, and we talk about like that's your SD card. You got your SD card.
Is that
literally SanDisk SD card.
2 gig SD card.
Yes. And back in forever ago we had cell phones, and cell phones had anywhere from the mini, mini or the said micro. And I don't know if you remember the joy of essentially plugging a micro or a mini into the micro card into the mini adapter.
Okay.
And then having to take the mini adapter and putting it into an SD card, like this very exciting Russian doll, nesting doll scenario I have happening here.
So I've never seen. So I'm familiar with the micros because the micros are what the GoPros and the Wise cameras use, right? I'm not familiar with the mini. I don't think I had much of a smartphone flip phone that would take these other cards.
Ta-da! And then it goes into this guy. Here, look, I could just put cards and cards and cards and cards. Ta-da! So then you can't just have those cards hanging out around you. You have to have the Memory Stick Pro.
Oh no! Oh no! That's the Sony thing. I believe they may have been the micro or the mini version of that. I believe was the data for one of the PlayStation Portable devices.
Yes. And you're like, oh wait, they could almost be friends, but they're not. You'll notice the size.
Oh wow, they are
off.
they're very similar. On the end,
they want to be friends, but no. Sony's like, I'll do my own thing.
They're really good about that. Yeah.
Sony was very good with proprietary.
Oh yeah.
And by very good, we mean very annoying.
Yes.
So.
Well, then you also had Olympus had their own smart media.
Oh no.
Which looks like a miniature floppy disk. It's
shiny. Is that a functional
yes,
shiny? Is that a contact surface for the data?
Yes.
Oh no, that's very exposed.
Yeah. Whee! But yeah, it's in pretty, like, looking at it, there's like a few fingerprints on it.
How do you have this collection? What all was this from cameras over the years that you've had?
Yeah, cameras and phones. Okay. I've been doing this photo thing for a long time. Mostly for funsies, and then But yeah, I found my bag of old cards. I found a baggie of old cards, so I have these 3 of the memory sticks. I gotta buy. Apparently, I don't have enough different doodads and thingamabobs in my dongle, so I have to buy another one for like a 12-in-1, so I could read the Olympus card and these lovely Sony Memory Stick Pros. So I will let you know what's on them once I figure out what they are.
I remember. Now, I never had to do it, but I remember people saying they took the micro card and they physically cut it down. Or they took the larger card, and they had the smaller, the contacts were small enough that you could cut the plastic card and get it in there. Because I am glad that we are much more standard. On media now, because before all the solid state stuff, if we just go a little bit earlier, you have that transition between the 3.5-inch floppy and the solid state, where everyone was throwing everything at the wall. What was it? The Jazz Drive?
Oh, the Jazz Drive! Oh, the zip disks! Boy, they were like floppies, but they had 100 megabytes on them. And then I think the Jazz Drives were like hundreds, if not a gigabytes on them at the time. That's what I wanted. Like, my dream was to have a Jazz, because they actually gave you zip disks when you went to the Art Institute in your like kind of media pack that you got with your first round of books and all that kind of stuff. Yeah.
Here you go, Podnar. I don't know if I line these up.
Oh, look at that!
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so that's what you're looking at. 3 levels.
3 levels of SD cards.
Yep, and none of them worked. I probably had a phone or two that worked for one of these, and
Mhm.
whatever,
You just stayed in there the whole time. They should get one of those music phones at any point where you could load them on there, and it was like a music MP3 player, flip phone situation. Like that was a deal for a while, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, by the way, speaking of phones, there was like at least one comment that was like, I wish I could experience the Sidekick. So I just kind of like threw the comment. I was like, you need like, I wish there was a hands-on, like, obviously there's like the Computer History Museum I got to visit out in NorCal a couple years ago, and there's like things like that. But I would love something that's just like could let you hands-on all this stuff a little bit. Like, hey, we have several sidekicks. You can go and do the flip. Kind of like to an effect of, there's plenty of great things like the PA Pinball Museum up in Aliquippa, where you go and you get to play old pinball and somebody's there fixing it, right? There could be something like this where it's like, I want to get like a Nokia N-Gage and see if it was as bad as everybody says it is, and obviously that's going to be some wear and tear as people getting their hands on it, but also that needs to be a no kids situation, right? It's also only that will care for this stuff as a sign off on it. But and they would like maintenance these things as you go, kind of thing. If you want to experience old tech or old computers or anything like that, like that kind of deal. So like it happens with consoles all the time too. So, but kind of expand that out, like the little fringe tech kind of situation like that. But
can I give you a good sound too?
Oh yeah, go ahead.
Can you hear my LG? I don't know. It's the first OLED, and it was like the 8200. I think it was.
Hear that flip?
Yeah. I just went up angrily, slam it shut at everyone.
Have you ever done it so hard you broke the screen?
No, I'm responsible.
Oh man, there's so much time playing Tetris on those things. Awesome. I'm gonna make sure I don't lose this drive. It's actually an important project drive I need to work on this week. So, and when you know that you need to get a new backpack when you lose a hard drive inside the lining somehow. Of your and lose a half an hour trying to look for it.
Can you take a AirTag and either wrap it around the hard drive or attach it to
Brother,
the outside
if I could, I
tape?
would have by now, and I would have so many more AirTags that are going to be over limit on my phone. So the biggest thing I have is all the batteries are dying, and I need to sit down and go through all of them and get the batteries replaced.
Yeah.
So,
and I've been getting warnings saying your battery's low.
I've been getting it for a
year,
man. I didn't. And they just like slowly are fading off, and I was like, I need to trust this situation, So, anyways, they even on the trip this week, I was just like, do I have AirTags and everything? And like by chance, there was an AirTag in something in each of my bags, and I was like, wow. Oh, cool, we're good to go. Oh, they all need replaced, but I think we'll be able to last this couple of days here. Anywho. Let's get into some other news. It's the news. Let's see what else is going on here in the world. This is actually a little bit of this is awesome because this is there was a really good story about privacy on John Oliver's Last Week Tonight this week. Mostly they're pretty much tearing apart things like
I literally just watched that before jumping on the Zoo.
Intern John is very familiar with this, for instance. And I think most of the segment is actually on YouTube. You can go see it on that too. It's actually very informative, helps you wrap your head around what the problem is when it comes to security and privacy, when it comes to things like Facebook and what they've been doing and their recent changes and things like that. It's been a whiplash change, and I think Katie Potter, like you and I, have experienced changes over years and years of using Facebook Meta projects, right? So, and this is even more excessive, it feels, than typical. So I invite everybody to go to a website called John Oliver Wants Your Rat.erotica.com. There's a whole backstory on that. You can look it up. But anyways, it's not what you think. So, and it actually does take you through and kind of like, I never really kind of looked at things in this vein. It says tells you how to change your settings to make yourself less valuable to Meta. So you can use their platforms but not give them any more information than you need to. And things like stop Meta from feeding your ads based on data collected about you from other apps and websites. Stop Meta from using your data to help advertisers target you on other apps. Unlink your account from data about you on that other companies give to Meta, and then there is a there is an account for it does let you know if you're not linked to your Instagram, go to the Instagram account center and do the same thing. So an interesting public service that they are doing as far as this goes. Katie, I want to get your thoughts as our resident social media person here, expert here, about this. And I didn't know if you'd seen anything of this piece this week.
Not that piece, but I had started going through the settings of Facebook and Meta and Instagram and Apple. And trying to disconnect a lot of them so things will stop talking to each other. But yeah, no, I love that that's perfect. I love that this is a one-stop shop for this because it's, and it's easy to read.
Yeah, exactly. They made it very kind of accessible for everybody, right? So I'm concerned I'm way too integrated after all these years of signing up for these things years and years ago, and I don't even know what all things. I guess you can go and revoke access to a lot of apps too. That's also a good tip too.
Yeah.
I remember I had to do this for Twitter several times. Go in and see what apps you're connected to if you're using as logins and stuff like that. Because the other issue is when we were downloading apps on apps, trying things out. That was part of the, hey, let's see what this will do as part of the one of the things that we would do on the show. And after a while, you're like, okay, then that app broke down. Or shut down, and then but did it get sold to somebody? Is your app still connected to something that somebody else got? And are they doing something with your account, right? I think we had a pretty good hack happen on the Fishing Without Bait account about a year ago. And I think that came in through like an app that we were connected with, like an old service that we were using that deprecated or something like that. So those are good to check in on. I know it's one more thing to check on, and I know most people are just kind of casually on social media and probably are not even thinking about any of this stuff. But if you listen to this show, you probably are, I guess. So I think it's worthwhile checking it out. Again, that's over at John Oliver Once You're Rat Erotica.com. I'll say that domain as many times as I have to. So you can go check that out. And again, look at those on other things. I am forever annoyed by TikTok wanting me to, it keeps asking for my contacts or sending stuff to friends constantly whenever I want to share something. That's been really annoying. I wish I could deactivate that, but it is what it is. And also in Apple, I don't know how much they actually honor this, but there is still the ask app not to track option in a lot of these things. Whether they're honored or not, I do not know, but at least they'll add a little bit of percentage of not protection, but hopefully a little bit less gets out there with you too. And I think for me, it's less about getting your information out there for them to sell. I think it's more about, I don't want you to make so much money off of me because I don't like what you're doing, but I can't leave you because my mom's on it, because my family's on it, because it's the only way we communicate, right? We're dug in on this thing, but at least like I can become less valuable to you. So, yeah.
And also it's a way to control what people do with your information.
It is.
Your information should be yours.
It should be. Unfortunately, because of other things going on, it's not anymore. It right. is, and there's no matter what you did, as of between things going on at high levels and also a big Social Security breach late last year, I think, that's no longer true. It's out there. It's out in the wild. As somebody, I've heard this a couple times on podcasts where they said that we are in a post-privacy world because the information is out there and it's not getting back in the bottle. So... yeah. And, when we talk about biodata and people getting your faces and your eyeball retina scans, they say, you can change your password. You can't change the Social Security number. Also can't change your fingerprints easily. we could talk a face-off situation, but other than that, none of us have John Travolta money. But anyways, so, definitely look at that. Look at your settings. I'm hoping to get a minute here to kind of do the same thing here, although I'm kind of interested in what the ads are going to look like when they're not actually paying attention to what I'm doing. So that may be more, or it'll be more obvious. Will I stop getting ads about functional male ADHD syndrome or whatever the hell it is that I keep getting right now. So, but yeah, so there you go. John Oliver wants your raterotica.com.
Well, and now I'll say this is that you remember the promise was, well, we're going to take your data, we're going to give you the service for free, and we'll be able to give you things that you're particularly interested in. And I go down to my Facebook suggestions, my Instagram suggestions, and they're really weird, and they are something I do not have interest in. I'm assuming they're selling stuff to email people, and the emails I'm getting, they do not match any anything I'm interested in, especially all the dating sites. When I put in married, or you're like, there should be a married monogamous and pineapple lover. For relationships.
Is it an upside down pineapple?
Yes, it is.
Okay. So, on that note, no, listen, the percentage of divorce rate is like pretty crazy in this country. So I think actually putting that out as a blind email is actually not
true.
not completely out of line-ish for something like that. So they're like, you're like in your and you're married, you gotta be miserable and looking for somebody, right? Like that's what we're betting on right now. Hypothetically, I have a great relationship. I'm wonderfully happily married. Dave, I'm sure you are too. Love you, Missy. This is where you say love you, Ruth.
Love you, Ruth.
There you go. We'll make sure that gets clipped out. So anyways, what's going on with Photoshop?
Photoshop is now this is a little confusing. I will fully admit. Okay. Photoshop is a Photoshop version's coming to the iPhone. Now there has been a Photoshop for the iPad.
Yeah.
And there was a program called Photoshop Express, which was kind of a pared down, really stripped down version of Photoshop for the iPhone.
Sure.
But this is fuller featured. So when you go to the app, you can see it's been on the App Store for 4 years. So I'm guessing they took the Photoshop Express, made some edits to it, made some updates, kept all the past data instead of bringing a brand new app and just called it straight Photoshop.
So I'm not actually seeing it when I search the App Store.
Are you searching?
Oh, never mind. I had to type Adobe Photoshop, it appears.
I was about to say, you can't just do Photoshop. You got to do Adobe Photoshop.
That's interesting.
Yeah. And it's one of these apps where it's free for a lot of the features. But if you want other features, that's when you got to pay. Kind of like Lightroom is. Adobe has Lightroom for mobiles. It's kind of similar where there's a lot of features you can get by with using the free version. But if you want layers or you want some AI stuff they're going to throw in where they'll send it to its AI to suggest filters and give you like, here's the 4 best ones we have based on our wonderful AI platform. You have to pay for that. So I imagine the Photoshop will be pretty close to the same way.
Interesting.
And I can see where now that we have bigger and now the smallest iPhone, since they got rid of the old SE, it's now the 16E is their entry level. They did that last week. The smallest iPhone, 6.1 inches. So 6.1 are going all the way up to the 6.9 with the 16 Pro Max. That's a little bit more usable screen size for Photoshop. When we were dealing with the original iPhone, teeny tiny little screen, I don't care it's high resolution. I don't care, it's a small screen. It's hard to do anything with.
Sure.
It's getting to be reasonable size to actually do regular Photoshop stuff.
So I was hoping to show you what was going on here, but unfortunately, like it seems to just it's very interesting. It actually when I mirror to the Mac, it shows this like test pattern image, which is kind of fun actually. And then if I actually go in and load a picture, it loads the picture as I'm going. I can't actually show you the interface here, but I can. What are my options here? Blend and opacity. Like I guess we can play with this a little bit. Like you'll see the effects and everything on there as we go. But actually, not
yeah, apparently, I just loaded it up as like quickly replace backgrounds.
Mm-hmm.
So supposedly you can do that.
Yeah, like kind of like general stuff. Like it feels like. It doesn't feel terribly new to me, honestly. Yeah. Clicking through this, and I know you can't really see much of the interface here as I'm going. I was actually kind of curious. I wondered because I haven't loaded the one on the iPad because I just figured my iPad was not good enough for it. But apparently it just loaded the one for iOS 17. so I might poke at that a little bit too, but I got to log in and do the whole thing with Adobe. So, but anyways.
Now it does have some, when you first open it up, some tutorials, which is good because I can imagine even having the mobile version, Photoshop is still kind of overwhelming.
Absolutely. Oh, it is nice though, because if you do have Adobe Cloud, it loads in all my projects right away. Like there's the stuff for this podcast. There's the stuff that I do for there's the album art for the SAE podcast and things like that. So like it does cross that over really, really easy. So that's really nice to see. So, awesome.
And apparently it does have its AI generation in here.
Mm-hmm.
So you can just, as long as you agree to their terms, which you have to do with everyone anyway, you can just describe an image and it will pop out an image for you that way.
Oh, interesting. That might be worth looking at a little bit. I haven't looked at this, or I just haven't had much room to do the editing on. Like, even CapCut, I moved most of that work to the desktop at this point. Although I did do. I don't know if you saw my video this week when we were crossing the bridge back into Philadelphia. And I'm yelling at my friend to dance as he's taking the video. Quick things like that, of course. So I don't TikTok personally too often, unfortunately. So I really should do a little bit more. But mostly I'm just sitting here at my office. So what am I going to do? What else we got here that you guys want to get into? Yeah. Katie, this one project I put in here for you because you love calendars. Okay. This was brought up. I was listening to Twit, and somebody was talking about how this is actually, and I don't know, there may be a use case for you on this thing. Maybe this could be something for like a group use case or something, but it appears to be, it's the Skylight calendar. And what they said this was awesome about was it would bring all your calendars in. So this is a device with a plan. It's about a $300 device. They're selling it for $20 off right now, plus one free month of Plus, which is $20 a month. So the idea is it is this device that like hangs on your fridge or something, or in the in your common place, and you see it kind of splits up. Here's the schedule of what's going on with Dad. Here's what's going on with Harper and Liam and Mom, and the Miller family, and gives you the whole layout of like tasks like doing your homework and unloading the dishwasher and packing lunches and doing that whole thing. But they were talking about it was very cool that like their kid had like a soccer calendar or something. You could take that, dump it into this, and it just does all the work for you and inserts it into something like this. So it says meal planning, importing stuff, things like that. They're looking at like $80 a year. Is what you would pay typically for something like this. It does auto sync in with your Google Outlook, Apple Cozy, and Yahoo calendars apparently. So it does have a lot of kind of chores, color coding, mobile app for integration, dinner planning, weather, share access, and things like that. It is a 15-inch diagonal screen at 1080. And so it's basically it's kind of like a dedicated, it seems, Google home kind of device kind of thing. Katie, looking at this, is this something that you see applicable outside of, like, obviously, none of us have 2.5 children families here, but still, like, something that can organize something like this seems kind of helpful.
I'm laughing. If it wouldn't be so funny if we didn't just have a whole conversation talking about our data being integrated into apps and shared with other apps, and like this will bring in everything. I got Outlook, and you know what I mean.
But that was always the problem. And also, who are these people? That you're giving all your schedules to, right? But also,
I love this thing.
Mm-hmm.
Like, this is fantastic. I love this, but like we've just been talking about this.
Now it defaults on here to the 15-inch calendar.
Mm-hmm.
They also offer a 10-inch, but the 27-inch calendar max.
Yeah.
Hell yeah!
Which is back order for $600.
Mm-hmm.
You have to slide over to the one where it's vertical, and it looks like a giant iPad on your, or like a phone on your wall.
Oh, where's this at?
Oh, you went too deep.
I went too deep. I went back to the front page.
Yeah.
So,
where we go in here? Oh, 15-inch. Oh, okay. These are the options. Calendar Max. Oh, geez. There you go. Jeez, that's a $600 shadow box. Encased on 100% aluminum frame. Oh, timeless and contemporary.
Yeah, if you scroll down below with the images, no, not that far. I'm sorry. Right underneath the big image, you have the smaller one, and there it is.
I love it. I love it.
I don't know if I trust my ability to hang things on the wall.
No, guys, I watched the most anxiety-inducing. I gotta see if I can find this video. It was the most anxiety-inducing video I've ever watched, because they got this thing that was like a giant one-piece. It was one of those retrocades you can get with like 2,000 games on it or whatever, and it's all one piece made out of something, like some kind of metal or something, and it's supposed to hang on your wall. And they're trying to do this, and they can't figure out. I'm like, they're going to drop this thing. Oh, my God. And literally, like, just sitting on the inside is a mini PC, like on a shelf on the inside or something like that. That's going to bother me. I'm going to have to find that one for you guys. But it was just like, it looked like they put up like a fake wall in order to like do this thing, like in the project. Like, it's some big YouTuber or something I've never heard of before. And I went deep diving on stuff because I need to stay at Hilton's like exclusively, because they all have Netflix and YouTube in their in their TVs, and that's like the only thing where I don't feel like I'm just completely like cut off, to be able to watch things. And I just like I literally I watched the Saturday Night Movie because it was on Netflix, and then I went to YouTube and watched the first episode, and then dozed off, and it played old episodes of Saturday Night Live on YouTube through most of the night. So I was like, this is good for me. It's especially since I passed out at 8 o'clock because it was a travel day. But yeah, anyways, I don't know where I was going with that. So
now I'll say the 15-inch, it could be a little pricey for this, but the 10-inch is without the plus 170. That's, to me, is not horrible.
It's like getting a really good home, Google Home.
Yeah.
So,
and especially, like I said, I know people have kids, and of course, I never did this growing up, but it's like, oh, we have to go here, and then we have to go here, and then we have this going on the weekend, and then we also have this going on, and this other thing going on that we have to kind of figure out who's going to drive where and how they're going to get here, and how to fit it all in the schedule. So I can definitely see the 10-inch one.
I can almost see. Listen, what I need is a Google Glass. It just has that calendar up me and reminds me that my wife is busy, because it's getting very hard to do schedules right now. Because I don't know if you know this, my wife is a social butterfly right now, and having all kinds of business meetings and stuff, and all these kinds of things. She's becoming very, very popular, and it's getting really hard to track her down. Now I know how she feels with me. So, but it's just a lot of, well, okay, how are we doing this? And we have one car, and how does this happen? Situation. This is why I have a studio to bring everybody to me. In most cases, so either way, I don't know why she doesn't want to bring people to the studio. Is it all the wrestling? Is that it? So that's Skylight. If you want to check it out, skylightframe.com. You can explore that for yourself. If you find a use in this, please let us know on the social medias, on AwesomeCast, on most of the social medias, or on, what was that thing from last week? What was the voice line thing that we were looking at?
I'm trying to remember.
I forgot to put it in everything. Oh, wait, it's right here. If you go to voiceline.app/awesomecast, you can drop us a message like Dave Podnar did on the test last week. So go check that out. Voiceline.app/awesomecast. I'm going to figure out someplace to link that at sorgatronmedia.com probably, or on the AwesomeCast page or something. So that'll be on the to-do list. We'll set a reminder for that. There was, what time? Where are we at with this? Oh my God, it's time. Amanda. Okay, we'll touch base on this real quick. I didn't get a chance to look at this, but Amanda left it, so I want to give it time. Apparently, the company that brought us the bird feeder with the camera is branching out into pollination stations.
This looks so cute. This is.
I know.
Is that this thing? Did I click on the wrong? Because the one link didn't copy over right. Is this it?
That's it, but that's not what it looks like. I mean, you're in the right place.
Okay.
But...
Oh, it's this guy. Oh my gosh, it looks like a flower. It's great. So it's a camera that is going to you put on your flowers, and then when your bees or your butterflies come by to do what they do and pollinate the flowers, or your praying mantises and whatnot. So it's this little camera you can hang or put on the edge of the pot, and it looks like it does attach to looks like there's a solar panel that goes with it that's also a pedal of some sort. So this could be fun. Okay.
Yeah, if you go right there, if you go a little bit up, you can see the whole thing.
Flexible stem, solar panel, universal clip, flexible stem. I want to. This is my mother still in the chat room, because this feels like something that she would want to do. So.
And a little further down, you can see where they also sell blocks. So you can have a butterfly right there, butterfly feeder.
Wonder blocks.
You can have little parts in there, so a little bee honeycombs.
A modular set for building vibrant, biodiverse natural worlds. Create a welcoming home for pollinators. This is great if you have an apartment, I feel, with just a little bit of space outside, or something like that. Like that, yeah, it does really kind of feel like what that is. So.
And I could see this being really useful if you have kids, because you can add one that's a bee hotel. That way you can see the different pollinators, and helping out bees is always a good thing, because we need the pollinators, because they're in problem. There's so you can make a butterfly or terrarium part, a plant base. So it looks like a really neat. Now, it looks like they haven't launched on Kickstarter. It just says early birds get a 20% discount. So I don't think it says how much all this is going to be. So that's the other thing that's kind of,
I'm concerned, because it says spring 2025 and launching on Kickstarter. And that's usually a lot of lead time. I don't think you're getting it in time this year
for this spring,
to do what you want to do with it. So I did sign up for the subscribe. It is at experiencewonder.com if you want to go check that out. And that's going to be fun. Thanks, Amanda, for sharing that over on our AwesomeCast Facebook group, where we honestly, I use it to kind of bookmark things I want to talk about this week, and see what everybody else is up to, or I just to explain to somebody who will potentially care that I'm very excited to be connecting hard drives to my iPhone. So because I'm like, my wife's not going to care. I gotta tell somebody about this, and I go over to that group and do that. So, anyways, thank you everybody. Thank you, Dave Podnar of the iPhoneography podcast. Go check it out.
Very much. Yep. Prof Prod pretty much everywhere on the socials.
God, I was just putting over your show to somebody this week. I don't know.
Oh, cool.
I talked to a lot of
Always
people.
good.
It might have been in my podcast class. I'm not sure.
Oh, cool.
So, anyways.
Yeah, we actually talked yesterday, and it'll be released on Wednesday about happy accidents.
Ooh, yes. I love happy accidents when it comes to video production. That's for sure. It's just kind of being there and being ready for the moment, right?
Mm-hmm. So, yeah, and one example, co-host Greg, he was at an auto show, and he just happened to have his phone out and accidentally took a photo of the escalator going down. Put a silver tone on it. And it looks like a picture that you would take on purpose. And it was just, dumb luck. It just hit a certain way.
Yeah, absolutely. Katie Dudas.
Hello. I'll be walking the catwalk.
Yes. That'll
Red
be this,
carpet.
The cat carpet.
Cat carpet. I'll be all over the cat carpet on Sunday. Yeah, I'm excited. Like I said, my dresses for the fancy part is pretty fantastic. It's epitome. It's short. It's got ruffles, purple but long sleeved.
Oh.
And a big sequin flower. It's amazing 80s fashion. I'm so excited about it.
Awesome. We're gonna see that on your Instagram, perhaps.
Oh, absolutely.
Go to katiedudas.com to
.com.
see all the stuff
there
going
you go.
on
Now
with
it
you.
sounds like .com.
That sounds like your ad. Sorgatron.com, Sorgatron on all the social medias. You can see a little bit. I haven't posted all this. I posted on like Blue Sky some of the wrestling action from Saturday night. Alvin, I think it was Williamstown, New Jersey. I think it was for H2O Wrestling. It got a little bloody, and I'm actually considering. There's actually one picture where I don't think I can post it anywhere. But I did get to find out how Blue Sky reacts to violent material this past weekend, so that was fun. But anyways, yeah, I might throw it up on the Instagram as well here in the shortly. But if you check out my threads and Blue Sky, it should be over there. I was kind of getting worried about getting kicked off my Mastodon server because I'm on somebody else's for my personal account, and I figured, they're not going to be into this. So, anyways. Thank you, everybody. And I'm not going anywhere for a couple weeks here, so this is actually kind of nice. So follow all the action in Top Rope Tabletop. The wrestlers are coming back, season 3, campaign 3. It's going to be a new format. We're going to be tightening some screws on this, so I'm excited. If you have not checked this out, we hope it's going to be a very digestible D&D session. Let's put it that way. And that's going to be an experiment we'll be doing straight out of the Sorgatron Media Studios here Friday night. I think we're kicking off about 7 p.m. It's going to be a nice tight D&D session. At least that's the attempt. And I'm hoping we're starting to kind of figure this part of it out with this crew and do a lot of fun stuff there. And of course, Thursday Night Fights is our training night. If anybody's interested in video production around professional wrestling on the south side of Pittsburgh, contact me. And since it's apparently spring break week at Point Park, apparently I have a little bit extra time to hang out there this week. So thank you, everybody. Thank you, intern John, for hanging out and keeping the social medias lively out there. And until next time, you have been our awesome audience. Have an awesome week. This show is a member of the Sorgatron Media Podcast Network. Find out more at Sorgatron.